Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Lord of the universe. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulillah. May the peace and blessings of Allah be on the Messenger of Allah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Are you supposed to respond to Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah? Okay, so I need to hear that. Okay, so now inshallah we're going to start the class, and I request all of you to please note down your questions. Sometimes you have questions in the middle of the lecture and then you forget. It's very common that you say, oh, I remember this, but then you will forget. Either note it down on your phone or on a piece of paper, so that any questions that come, if you keep on asking questions in the middle, it might be a bit difficult to respond to each and every question properly and then again go through the content. So inshallah, I will answer all the questions after the class, unless there is something that I said or I say and it's not clear, like you couldn't understand what I said, then you stop me right there. But if it's a question, inshallah, I'm going to respond to it after the class, okay? Is it okay? Any questions so far? Any questions? So I might be getting to some of your questions in the end, some of the questions in the beginning, so just wait until the end of the class, inshallah, okay? How many of you are Hispanic? Most of you are, okay. So, because we were thinking of doing a simultaneous translation.
I don't speak Spanish.
No, but we were thinking of doing that I will say in English, and then a friend of mine is going to translate the whole thing into Spanish right now. But it would be like 4 hours, so we decided we'll do it in English, inshallah, and then whatever the material is, it can be, I will send you the material if in Spanish, and we have also books translated. The book of Sheikh Mustafa Umar, who is the CEO of this, the director of this university, and then we can send it to you, inshallah. I wanted to give it to you today, but somehow we couldn't get it. And inshallah, our friend Amal, she can also help you in translating whoever cannot understand the English bit. If you are good in English, no problem, because we are going to do the whole thing in English, not in Spanish. Is that okay? Okay with you? Okay, so let's start. Today, inshallah, we will be discussing how to perform the salah. It means how to pray, right? Salah, you know the word salah? It means to pray. It means to connect to Allah, right? So this is a class specially for salah, not for anything else. But you, after the class, you can ask me any questions that you want to, which may be related or unrelated. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that salah or prayer, it brings people closer to Him. We get close to Allah by praying the salah. And Allah also says in the Quran that it keeps people from immoral and indecent conduct. So if we feel that we are praying our salah and we are still being indecent or immoral, it means there's something wrong with our salah. This salah should prevent us from all kinds of indecency. The Prophet ﷺ said that prayer purifies, or salah purifies sins, just like a person is purified from dirt when they take a bath. Bathing keeps you away from dirt, right? Similarly, salah, 5 times prayers, keeps you away from any impurity. So the 5 daily prayers that we keep on talking about, which are obligatory upon Muslims, it is an essential part of being a Muslim. It is an essential part of being a believer in Allah. It is one of the main factors which differentiates between a Muslim who takes religion seriously from the one who does not take the religion seriously. Okay? So prayer is obligatory upon all Muslims who are adults and who are sane. Who are adults and who are sane. Now, who is an adult in Islam? A boy is considered to be an adult when he has his first wet dream. He is an adult. His first wet dream will make him an adult. A girl is considered to be an adult also when she has her first wet dream. Or if she doesn't have a wet dream, then when she has her menstrual period start. Okay, very clear for the boys and the girls. If none of these happens, no wet dream, no periods, then at the age of 15, according to according to the lunar calendar, when a boy or a girl reaches 15 years of age, that means he or she is an adult. Everything clear so far? So it is obligatory upon all adults, Muslim adults, to pray these salah, the 5 times salah every day. However, children should be taught or can be taught how to pray they should be taught at the age of 7. The children should start learning about prayer. It's not that they should start praying at the age of 7 and you should be strict on them. No, they should start learning about prayer at the age of 7. And by the age of 10, the parents must make sure that they know how to pray. They know how to pray. Okay, I told you about adult. Now, I told you 2 things. A person has to be sane and adult and sane. I talked about adult. Now, I'm telling you who's sane in Islam. Who is considered sane in Islam? A person who is afflicted with any illness, mental illness, or any defect that impairs their intellect, then they are not obligated to pray. But the parents may still teach them how to pray. If they have the capability of learning, make them learn how to pray and make them pray. Whatever they pray, they will not be held accountable, but the parents get the reward, right? So even if a child is not able to pray, doesn't have the mental capability, has a defect, then still teach them how to pray, okay? It won't be fard on them, it won't be obligatory on them. Now let us move to the prayer timings and the units of prayer. Prayer timings depend on the position of the sun. Position of the sun. So the timings change every day and they vary from place to place. Every day, if you notice, if you have the prayer timings on your phone or you look at the calendar, it changes almost every day. There's hardly any day when it stays the same. I'm not talking about all the prayers, but the prayers which are affected by the sun, like the Fajr prayer and the Maghrib prayer. They change almost every day and they vary from place to place. Each prayer period lasts for a certain amount of time. It's not that the prayer time starts and you have to pray right then and the time finishes. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us enough flexibility. Some prayer times last for hours. So prayer must be prayed within that time frame, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, within that time frame. I'm going to tell you when the time starts and when it ends. The first prayer in the morning is the Fajr prayer. All of you know the names of the prayers? All of you know the names of the Fajr, of the prayers? Okay, it's good to remember, just note these names so that next time if somebody is talking to you about Fajr, you know it's the morning prayer. It's the morning prayer or the Fajr prayer. It consists of 2 units of prayer. 2 rakat of prayer. In Arabic, you say rakat, and in English, you can say 2 units. I don't want you to get bogged down by the Arabic terminologies. I will try to use minimum Arabic terminology, okay? Fajr is the morning prayer. If you don't remember Fajr, just remember morning prayer. The morning prayer, the time starts at the appearance of dawn. And what is dawn? When the line of light first appears in the sky. Not the vertical line, the horizontal line. It first appears in the sky. You won't be able to see it here in the city, like in LA or Orange County. But if you go slightly away from the city, you can actually see the line when it comes up. The horizontal line that comes when the Fajr time starts. It first appears on the sky and the time for Fajr starts. Not in the dark, not completely in the dark. And it lasts until the beginning of sunrise. And when is the beginning of sunrise? When the sun, you see the disk of the sun when it starts appearing above the horizon. When you first see the sun, it's coming up, it may be cloudy, you may not see. But that's how it is defined. That when the disk of the sun first appears on the horizon, that is when the time for Fajr finishes. So it's quite it's more than 1 hour. And in that 1 hour or 1 hour or 20 minutes that you have, you can say your Fajr time. You don't have to say it right at the start of the Fajr time, and you shouldn't wait until the end. Try to do it at a good time when you have enough time and you can pray comfortably and you can concentrate or focus on it. The Zohar prayer, this is the afternoon prayer, the midday prayer or the afternoon prayer. The time for Zohar begins when the sun is right on top, and then it crosses that level and it starts to decline from the highest position. The sun is vertically up, and that is the highest position. And as soon as the sun moves from that position, it crosses the highest point and starts to decline. The time for Zohar starts. And have you ever noticed your shadow at the time when the sun is on top? Anybody? Have you noticed your own shadow? Next time try it. You girls, you should try it, inshallah. You can stand in the sun, or you can put a stick in the sun if you don't want to do that. You can put something in the sun, or you can stand yourself. You can see the shadow. It will keep on reducing until there's a time when either you will have no shadow or very small shadow, the smallest shadow that you can have of yourself. It will be right where you are standing. That means the sun is right above you. When it crosses, then you will see that the shadow starts becoming bigger. So the time for Zohar, or the midday, or the mid-noon prayer, whatever you want to say, afternoon prayer, it lasts until the shadow of an object equals to itself, except what? The minus the shadow of the noon. Yani you have your own shadow, which may be this much, right? So how do you do that? You take a stick, you keep it here, and you see when is the shadow the minimum. Okay, then you minus that shadow, and you think now the shadow is increasing until the length of the stick becomes the same as the shadow. Got it? That is the end time for Zohar. So you have to pray Zohar within that time. Sometimes it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on the season, on the position of the sun. In winters, it finishes quickly. In summers, the time is longer. Okay. The third prayer is Asr prayer. It's like you can call it the late afternoon prayer for yourselves. It consists of 4 units. Did I say? I think I forgot to say that the Zohar prayer is 4 units. We talked about the Fajr prayer. It's 2 units. Then the Zohar prayer is 4 units. Then the Asr prayer is also 4 units. The time for Asr, or the late afternoon prayer, it begins when the time for Zohar finishes. So when the shadow becomes equal, this is the shadow, this is the stick, or yourself. When it becomes equal, then the time for Asr starts. And it stays until a little before sunset. Just before sunset, it ends. The 4th prayer is called the Maghrib prayer. It means the prayer after sunset, soon after sunset. The time for Maghrib becomes as soon as the sun sets, soon after sunset. And it lasts until there is some whiteness in the sky. As soon as that whiteness disappears, it becomes dark, and the darkness starts spreading. The time for Maghrib finishes. And what happens? The time for the last prayer, or the Isha prayer. Isha prayer is the last prayer, that is the night prayer. It starts at that time when the time for Maghrib finishes. It is again 4 units or 4 rakat, and it lasts until Fajr according to some opinions, and it lasts until past midnight according to other opinions. It is better to pray before midnight, but if for some reason you haven't prayed, don't consider it to be, no, now there's no time, I can't pray. Suppose you are working, you are at a job, you are traveling, you are somewhere, or you are not well, and the time for Fajr is approaching. Then you pray your Isha if you haven't prayed your Isha. You still have time to pray Isha until the time for Fajr starts. And nowadays you have so many programs, you have so many things in your phone that give you the time for prayers. You don't have to worry about these things. Why I'm explaining? Sometimes you want to tell a new person, they might be thinking, oh, how do I find out? It's not in my phone, it's not in my laptop, I don't have a calendar. It's good to know these things. It's good to know these things. It increases your knowledge about Islam. Okay, the most suitable program for the US, if you want to go and check online, the most suitable program is the ISNA prayer time, the Islamic Services of North America, ISNA. ISNA. For North America, that is because there are different time zones, and different countries fall into a group where they calculate the prayer timing according to some the position of the sun, of course, but according to the angle as well. So we are not going into those details about how you will calculate, because you don't need to know that. It's already here. But if you go to some countries in the Middle East, if you go to Malaysia, they will have their own way of finding out. For example, you go to Saudi Arabia, they will follow the Qura. If you go to Pakistan, you will have the Islamic, the Karachi University thing. If you go to some other place, they will have another, like the Egyptians will have their Egyptian way, so for those countries. So it is best to follow the timings of your local masjid or of your local Muslim community. That's the best way. A few minutes here and there always happens. Okay, so now we know the prayers, timings, and we know the units of prayer. We will discuss how to pray in a little while. Before you start praying, the prayer has certain conditions. Without those conditions, your prayer will not be valid. You have to understand this. Your prayer will not be valid. These conditions have to be fulfilled in order to pray correctly. I'm not frightening you. I'm just letting you know the conditions. Okay? So what are these conditions? Anybody knows? Number one, yes. Making wudu, yes, that's one of these. Anyone else? Okay, so let's start. The direction, correct. Anything else? Okay, let's start. The first condition is you have to make sure that the time for prayer has entered. It is already time for prayer. Like you cannot, if Zohar starts, for example, if Zohar starts at 12:45, and you say, let me pray at 12:30, I have to go somewhere. That is not allowed, okay? That is not allowed. If you say the Fajr time will start, the Isha time is going to, Fajr normally people are not out, so they pray on time. But Zohar, Asr, Asr time is going to start at what? It's going to start at 4:30. Let me pray at 3:30 instead. No, you can't do that. The prayer time has to enter, and then you can say your prayers. Allah has said that in the Quran, that it is prescribed and at stated times, and you have to pray in that time. You cannot pray before the time starts. Then you have to make sure, second condition, you have to make sure that your clothes, your body, and the place where you are praying is free of impurities, is free of najasa or filth. Najasa is Arabic, so I'll just say filth or impurities. It's not like, that the children have done something over here, or an animal has done something over here, you go there and stand there. No, this is, if you see something, if you don't see something, it's considered pure. If you see something impure, then you have to move away from that part. Or you have to clean it, or you have to move away from that place and clean the place where you are praying. Another condition is that you have to make sure that you are in a state of purity. Purity means ritual purity, which is like just now the sister said, you have to make wudu. So what is the recommended way to make wudu? Because wudu is obligatory for prayer, you must know how to make the wudu. Otherwise, how will you enter into the prayer? How will you pray? So how to make wudu? Anybody knows how to make wudu? You guys? No? Who knows? Raise your hands. Okay, mashallah. Half the class knows. Anyways, make a sincere intention in your heart. The intention is not to be verbalized. It's in your heart that you're making wudu. Allah knows you're making wudu. You make your intention. Why do you go to make wudu? Allah knows, right? So it's just the intention. I'm not just going to cool down. I'm not doing just to wash my face. I am going to make wudu. So you go with the intention, start making wudu, begin with the name of Allah. Everything has to be begun in the name of Allah. So say Bismillah. You have to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and then you wash your hands, including the wrist, like this part of the hand, 3 times. Yes.
Can you say that again slower?
The Bismillah.
Can you say that?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I can also send it to you. So, and I can also, are you Hispanic or okay, so I can maybe ask Amal to write it in Spanish for you. That would be easier for you. Okay, but all these things are available on a lot of things online. Sometimes you get confused where to get it from. Is this authentic? Is that authentic? There are many different opinions. So that's why we had this class, because a lot of my students in the other class had a lot of questions. So we said, okay, we'll have a class on prayer. This was unscheduled. It came up, and alhamdulillah, we could do it because we had the place and we had the time, so we could do it, alhamdulillah. So you start by the name of Allah. Everything you start, you say Bismillah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim means I begin in the name of Allah, who is the most merciful, who is always merciful. Okay? Then you wash your hands up to the wrist 3 times in the water. Then you cup your right hand, take your right hand, make it like a cup, and fill it with water, take it in your mouth and swirl it, and then spit it out. Like rinse your mouth. Easily, in easy words, I would say just rinse your mouth. Take water in your right palm, make it a cup, put it in your mouth, rinse your mouth, and spit the water out. Do this 3 times. Okay, let me tell you again. Whatever you're doing, most of the things I will tell you, do it 3 times. If there is little time and your prayer time will be gone by the time you make it 3 times, make it 1 time. Minimum 1 times, maximum 3 times. But be consistent. If you do 1 time, then everything 1 time. If you do 2 times, then everything 2 times, except for some things which have to be done only once. And I will tell you what things are to be done only once. So wash your wrist 3 times, cup your hand, put water in your mouth, rinse your mouth, spit it out 3 times. 1, again take the water 3 times. Not spitting 3 times, everything is 3 times. Okay, taking the water, putting in your mouth, swirling it, and then spitting it out. Then again take the water in your right hand, again cup it in your right hand, fill it with water, and sniff it into the nose. You put it in your nose and you blow the water out. You need your left hand, you can blow it out. Take the water in your right hand, put it in your nose, and blow it out with your left hand. Again, do this 3 times if you have time. That is the sunnah, to do 3 times. It is also the sunnah to do 1, 2, or 3 times. It's okay. Then so you did your hands 3 times, you rinsed your mouth 3 times, you sniffed the water inside your nose 3 times. Now you cup both your hands. Take both your hands, fill them with water, and wash your entire face from ear to ear, from here to here. Okay, ear to ear and forehead to chin. Wash the whole face, not just putting water like this. I have seen people who take water and who just do this. No, that's not it. You have to wash it. The word is washing. So take water, the water should flow on your face. Do this 3 times again. Then wash your right arm from all the way from your fingertips. You have to take water and wash your right hand up to the elbows, including the elbows. Okay, do it 3 times. If you find difficult, if you're not into the habit of doing this, like we do it and we cup it and we go like this and then we go like this, right? If you can't do that, just put your hand under the faucet, under the tap, and make it like it should be washed again, up to the elbows, including the elbows. Okay, do it 3 times. Same thing then do with your left hand. Wash your left arm, take the water, it should come up to the elbows from the fingertips, and it should go all over your hand, including the elbows. Do this 3 times. So your right arm is done, your left arm is done. Then you wet your hand. Don't fill it with water. Just wet your hand and wipe it over your entire head like this. It goes like this, not up to the neck. Don't include the neck. It goes like this from the forehead. You go like this, and you come back. For the men, it's easy because you can go and you can come back. You have short hair. Okay. For the women, it becomes a bit difficult. If you can't do that, it's okay. Just go up to here. Okay. That's done. Try to do. If you can't, it's okay. If you are wearing a scarf, women, and it's difficult to take off that scarf, you have all the pins and whatever, or you are in public, people might see you, right? You are making wudu in public, then what do? You do not have to take off your scarf, but you have to put your hand inside, wet the hand, put it inside the scarf, and at least this much you should wet your hair. If you can take it off from here, just wet it from inside over here like a hand. Or if you can't do that, you take your hand from here, you take your hand from wherever. Different people have different kinds of scarves. So depend on what is most convenient for you. Now all this is only once. Okay, you wet your hand, you go up to here, you come back, or you can't come back, or you put your hands in the scarf. When you do this, after that you have to kind of use the same water. If there's no water left in your hands, there should be some water left in your hands. It's all symbolic. So you have some water, take your index fingers, put it inside the ear like this, inside the ear, and then with your thumb, go back behind the earlobes and bring it up. You're not cleaning anything. It's just ritual purification. That's the sunnah. That's the way the Prophet ﷺ did it. That's why we do it. Okay? So remember what we did? We took the water, we went from here to here, we came back, and then we put the index fingers in the ears, and we took the thumb and we went all the way up behind the earlobes. Okay? So that is only once. Then wash your right foot, including the ankle, 3 times. Wash it, not just wipe it. Just wash it, including the ankle, 3 times. Then wash your left foot, including the ankles, 3 times. Remember, all of these start with the right and then followed in the left. Okay? Remember that. Make sure that you put water inside the fingers, your toenails, and okay? Then after your wudu is complete. After completing the wudu, then you declare the shahada. All of you know how to do the shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I can give all of this in writing to you. Just put your email addresses. I think Amal is going to take your email addresses so that I can send to all of you the text. Okay, the text of all these things that we are learning. Because you cannot memorize in this one class of 2 hours, right? So you say the shahada, and then, okay, remember, anything that prevents water from reaching any of these parts which you are washing has to be removed. Like glue, like paint, like nail polish, it must be removed before you start doing your wudu. Because if you have these things, they will become a barrier and the water will not get inside of you. Okay? Likewise, if you are wearing a tight ring, a ring that you are wearing for years and years, you don't want to take it off, it's your favorite ring, or a watch which is waterproof, still you have to make sure that the water goes underneath the ring, underneath the watch, and underneath the ring. Remember, the water has to get to your skin. There should be no barrier. Those things, those substances which do not form an insulating barrier, they don't have to be removed. They are okay. You don't have to remove them. Like lotions and stuff and oil and whatever you have, you don't have to remove them. So this is all about wudu. Okay? Amal, can you please take the email addresses of everyone so we can send them the text, and they can also, I will send you my email, and then you guys can also send me emails if you have any questions whatsoever. Okay? Feel free to send me any emails. Don't delay it. Just feel free to send me the email. Okay, there are certain circumstances, certain situations where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed that wudu is not going to be enough. It's not sufficient. You have to take a ritual bath. You have to take a complete bath. In such cases, what do? First of all, let us see what these cases are. When does it become necessary to take a bath instead of making just wudu? Number 1, after you have an intercourse. Number 2, after an ejaculation which was accompanied by sexual desire. Whether that occurs in your dream or whether you are awake. Both of these require 2 things, ejaculation plus desire. Then you have to take a bath, a full bath. Women have to take a bath at the end of their period, menstrual period, and also after the bleeding stops after childbirth. It may be a few days, it may be more days. It could go up to maximum 40 days. But after giving birth to a child, you have the bleeding, so you take a bath, complete bath. Wudu is not enough. During that period, when you have bleeding, of course, you won't be praying. So you won't be needing to make wudu. So what is the recommended way or the sunnah way to take a bath, to take a complete bath? Again, make sincere intention. Remember, intention is the most important thing in Islam, the intention. Anything you do, I'm not saying do something bad with a good intention. The intention has to be in line with your action. You're doing a good action, make the intention, it is solely for Allah, only for Allah. And that's why intention is most important. So make sincere intention in your heart. Again, there is nothing to verbalize. You don't have words to say. So remember start with the remembrance of Allah. Again, Bismillah. For everything you have to say Bismillah. It is like starting in the name of Allah. Now this is taking a bath, remember. So you are going into the washroom, taking a bath. First of all, you make the intention inside your heart. Then what do? You say Bismillah. Because that part you can say Bismillah. If you're in a toilet, then you don't say Bismillah inside the toilet. You don't take the name of Allah inside the toilet. This is a shower, right? You're taking a bath, you say Bismillah, then you wash off any impurities that may be around you, especially around your private parts. Around your private parts, you may have some impurities. Wash them first. Then you make wudu. I just told you how to make wudu, right? So while you're in the shower, you make wudu. How do you make wudu? Again, with the hands, in the mouth, in the nose, on the face. Go like this to your ears. Wash your. Did I say arms? The arms, the thing, and then again wash your feet. Everything. You are done. Okay, so you have done your wudu. Now you put water on your whole body. You put water, pour water on the whole body, and you may use soap or what. You need chairs. There's one chair over here. You can pull these chairs. There's one chair over here. So make sure that the water reaches every part of your body, each and every part of your body, including the roots of your hair and the beard. If you have a beard, that you should just go inside the beard. Even while you're making wudu, for men, you have to use so that the water goes inside the beard. Okay, if you have those braids, I can't see anyone in the class having braids, but maybe you have the braids which are tight braids and you cannot open these every time you take a bath, then you just put the water on it, and inshallah you pour the water and it should go inside. Then you don't need to open all the braids all the time. Just make sure water is going inside, it's touching your skin, your scalp. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us also to wipe over our socks, upon our socks, as a symbolic substitute for washing the feet. But in order to do that, again, there are certain conditions which have to be fulfilled. Now, what are these conditions? Number one, first of all, you must have made a wudu or taken a bath. You can't just say, oh, I'm just wiping on my socks without having wudu. The first time you will have to do wudu, or you will have to do a ghusl, yani take a bath. Then you put on your socks while you are in a state of wudu. While you are in a state of wudu, your wudu hasn't broken. You know how the wudu breaks. There are many things that break your wudu. You go to urinate, you pass air, you faint out, you go into a deep sleep, then your wudu breaks. So all these things, if nothing of these have happened, you are still in a state of wudu, of purification. Then what do? You wear your socks after making wudu or after taking the bath, and those socks must cover your entire feet, not your legs, your feet, and including your ankles, because that is the area which needs to be washed during wudu. Okay, so you just wear the socks, and then when you are in need of wudu again, now you wore your socks. First thing in the morning, you did your wudu or ghusl, your bath for fajr, for the morning prayer, and then what did you do? You wore your socks. Now you're going to the office, you're going to work, you have a whole day, even if you're not going anywhere, you are at home. Allah gives us this concession. What do? You just make wudu for all the other parts, which is easy. The difficult part is to wash the feet. If you're outside in public, in a public restroom, what do? It seems very odd if there are non-Muslim taking your legs into the sink and then washing it. It seems a little embarrassing, right? So it's easy that you wear your socks, and then when the time for wudu comes, you do all the wudu except your feet. And when it's time to wash your feet, what you do is, instead of taking off your socks, don't take off your socks. Just wet your right hand with water, and just go and wipe on top of the socks. On top of the socks. You know what I mean? Like you go on top like this, and just with your right hand. Not on the sole, not on the bottom. Sometimes you might think, I've seen people doing that. They go into the restroom, and what they do is they take the water and they wash the sole. They wipe the sole, the socks on the sole. That is not what Allah intends. Although the sole, part of the socks, gets dirty, right? But this is symbolic. We are not cleaning anything. We are just purifying it. This is ritual purification. So this is what Allah wants. So place the fingers of your right hand and with the water and just wipe it on your socks from the part of the fingers and then go up toenails and then go up to the part of the socks. Okay, similarly you do for the left. Take your left water in your left hand, not like water but just like wet your hands, and then go all the way from your toenails up to the socks. Do the same, and that means you have completed your wudu. It's nothing deficient. You didn't wash your feet, and it is completely all right to do that. Okay, so what is the time limit for wiping your socks? Can you just wear your socks today and keep wiping it for the next few days? No, you can't do. Who will do that? Nobody wants to do that. You change your socks every day, right? Everybody changes his socks. You change your socks every day. The kids, no, they change their socks every day. They might be changing 5 times a day. Who knows? The way they go around with socks without shoes. So what is the time limit for wiping your socks? According to one opinion, it is 24 hours from the time you lose your wudu. You lose your wudu from that time, right? According to another opinion, sometimes it's very different. But just to make you know that according to another opinion, it is 24 hours from the time you wipe over your socks for the first time. When you wipe over your socks, it makes a big difference. Suppose you wore your socks in the morning, right? Today. And then you didn't need to make wudu. But when your wudu broke, then you say, oh, now it's time that now my 24 hours are beginning. But suppose you don't need to make wudu because from Fajr to Zohar you have a long time, right? At Zohar time you are doing the masa, it's called masa, the wiping over the socks. You are wiping your socks for the first time. Then your 24 hours begin from that time. So there's 2 opinions. The thing is that normally you wouldn't want to sleep with your socks on unless you are ill, you have some problem, or you're experiencing some difficulty, so you are wearing your socks during night. Yeah, but all day you can make wudu in the morning, and then you can wear your socks, and all day when you are making all the 4 prayers, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha, then you are just doing wiping over the socks. However, if you are traveling, the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it 72 hours. Instead of 24 hours, it becomes 72 hours. Yani instead of 1 day and 1 night, it becomes 3 days and 3 nights. What if you have an injury? What if you have a bandage? What do you do? Anywhere where you are making wudu, on your arm or your hands. If you have a bandage here, there it doesn't matter, yeah? But if you're making wudu and you have a bandage somewhere on the hand, somewhere on the elbow, on anywhere on your feet, what do? If you're unable to wash that part of the body due to an injury or due to anything else, you may wipe over that area instead of washing. It's only when you have an injury, okay? Then you wipe instead of washing it. Also, if the washing could cause harm, then you can wipe it. And if the wiping can cause harm, you know that if you apply a little bit of water on that, it can cause more harm to your injury or your whatever is there, then you may skip the injured area altogether. You may skip that area altogether. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most merciful. And that's why He has given us a lot of concessions. If you can wash, wash. If you cannot wash, wipe. If you cannot wipe, just skip that area. Still your wudu will be complete. So if there is a bandage, that was an open wound. If there is a bandage, then you wipe on top of the bandage. If there's a bandage or whatever you are having, or band-aid or bandage or plaster or whatever is there, then and it is difficult to remove it every time you make wudu, then you may wipe over the bandage or whatever material it is. There's another concession that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. That is dry ablution. Ablution is wudu, right? So dry ablution, or it is called tayammum. Tayammum means that if there is no water, so there are certain conditions. Again, you cannot use tayammum. You cannot do tayammum because I'm sitting here and say, oh, I don't feel like going to the toilet. I don't feel like making wudu. I'm so lazy, I'll just make tayammum and pray. I've seen people doing that as well. So you have to understand that there are certain conditions, certain situations where either you wanted to make wudu or a ritual bath was needed. Even if you are impure, like a ritual impurity, and there is no water. So number one is water is not available. Then what do? You make tayammum. I'll show you how to make tayammum. If there is water, but you are not able to use it, for example, you are traveling, you may be hiking, and you have just one bottle of water, and suppose you are so thirsty that you just keep that water for drinking. Don't use that water. You can do tayammum in such cases. Okay? So if the water, third thing is, number one was if there is no water. Second situation is there is water, it's not enough for making wudu. There's just enough for your drinking purposes. And you have a long hike, you are traveling, use that water for drinking, make tayammum instead of wudu. Third point is if you need to take a bath, a ritual bath, but there is water only enough for wudu, you cannot substitute your bath with wudu. Remember that. You cannot say, oh, I'll make wudu instead of taking a bath. No, that will not be sufficient. So if the water is not enough for taking a bath, then you do tayammum. Tayammum can substitute, the dry ablution can substitute your bathing, but wudu does not substitute the bathing. Okay, got it? Okay, if you are on a plane and there is water, of course on plane there is always water, right? There is always water in the toilets, unless there's some gross problems. Okay, so you go to the toilet, you make wudu. You can wear socks before you start your traveling, making wudu, wearing your socks, and 72 hours you can still do on it. So no travel nowadays is 72 hours, right? Unless you go on a boat or something, on a ship, on a train, but normally the plane rides are how much? Like 24, 48 hours. So you don't have to remove your socks, just wipe on the socks, but you make wudu, go into the toilet, use the sink, use the water. Instead of doing 3 times, just do it once, but make your wudu. If water is available on the plane, you cannot make tayammum. You cannot do tayammum, okay? But if you need to take a ritual bath on the plane, of course, which you can, unless you are in business class or first class. People like me are in economy class, so we don't have place to take a bath, we don't have enough water to take a bath, enough place. So what do? Instead of, if you need to make ghusl, if you need to take a bath, what do? You do tayammum. You cannot substitute, remember, you cannot substitute the bathing with wudu. Okay, if you're driving a car, if you're in your car, what do? It's time for prayer. And I told you in the beginning, the prayer timing is not like, oh, you have to do this prayer in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes. No. You are in the car, you should stop at a convenient place, not necessarily in 5 minutes, not necessarily in 10 minutes. Wherever you think there's an exit, there is a place, you can go out and you can stop, and you can, wherever you find water, make wudu. So many fast food restaurants on the way on any highway. Again, I'm going to tell you about some other discount for traveling, so you will know that it's not necessary to stop on the way and to make wudu. I'll just tell you about that. So when you're driving a car, even if you're not on a highway or something, if you're coming home, you got caught in traffic, and the time for prayer is like, going, oh, it's about to time, it's getting dark, and I haven't said my Asr prayer. What do? You stop the car somewhere, go to a restaurant, go to a mall, wherever. Usually we go to where? Starbucks. That's the cleanest place to go. That's the best place to go. They don't stop Muslims from just going, not ordering something. You just go there and you make wudu. And they don't stop you. Some restaurants have written over there, only for people who are using this restaurant, taking food from here, right? Only for customers. So if you are driving in a car and there is a possibility that water is nearby, you should wait a few minutes. You should complete some more miles, and then you must go and search for it. But if you don't find any water, and the time for prayer is ending, then you may make tayammum. If you are confident, if you are sure that you will find sufficient water before the end of the prayer time, it is better to wait and find that water and then pray. Better to pray with water instead of, but don't miss your prayer. That's it. Also, you're allowed to make tayammum when you have water, but the water will make you more ill. It's going to harm you. Then you don't use water, just make tayammum after surgery, things like that, after an injury. Now, how I've been talking about tayammum. How do you make tayammum? Very easy. Again, what is the first thing? Sincere intention in your heart. You're doing it only for Allah. Number 2, reciting Bismillah, the name of Allah. These 2 things are common in everything that you do in Islam as a Muslim. Then what do is you're outside somewhere, soil outside, you see the soil, the dust, the mud, whatever is over there, just strike your hands, both your palms on the soil, on the dust, with both palms of your both hands, okay? And remember, it's only got to be something that is pure. That is like, it may be dust, it may be that the dirt which is like dust, it may be any rock, it may be sand. Like if you're on the beach, you don't find mud over there, you will find sand over there. It's the sand, or it could be pure marble over there, not likely to be here, but in some countries you see, or the regular clay, the soil, okay? So you put your both palms, strike the dust with the both palms, and then clear off the excess. Like either do like this, or just so that it's not like you don't have to put the mud on your face, okay? Remember, it's symbolic. It's all symbolic. So you touch it, and then you remove the excess dust or mud or soil, either by blowing or by doing like this, so that it goes away. And then take this and wipe your entire face once with those hands, and rub your hands with it. That's done. And then declare the Shahada after you finish that. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, right? You do that. There is another way of doing it, that you, instead of doing it once, you do it, there are different opinions. So you do it once, wash your, wipe your face, do it again, and then your hands up to the elbows. So again, there's difference of opinion about whether it is only the hands or is it the elbows included. Whatever you feel like doing, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever your sheikh says. If they say, no, this is not correct, this is correct, it's up to you. You can follow the sheikh, okay? Because there are legitimate, valid difference of opinions. Okay, remember, non-availability of water is not a valid excuse for not saying your prayers on time. You know that, right? Because if you don't have water to take a bath, still you make tayammum. If you don't have water to make wudu, still you make tayammum. So in all these cases, you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us concessions so that we can pray our salah on time. We pray on time, not to miss the prayer. All these exemptions are so we pray on time. Okay, the next requirement, we talked about wudu, we talked about these things. Now the next requirement that we were saying, what are the conditions for prayer? To make sure that your body is covered properly. For males, the basic essential, like at least they should cover from the navel to the knees. Navel to the knees should be covered, and then also it's better to cover your shoulder. So if somebody is wearing shorts up to the knees, and then people object, oh, this man is coming with shorts, this man is coming with short sleeves, no, his prayer will not be accepted. That's not correct. You don't have to wear a cap in order to pray. You wear a cap, fine. There's no problem with it. You wear long sleeves, that's okay. You wear a thobe, you wear shalwar kameez, everything is okay. You wear your Spanish dress, your whatever dress, it's okay. As long as you are covering yourself, right? Because you're going in front of Allah. It's a meeting with Allah. For women have to cover their entire body except 2 things. The face and the hands, this much. Even your wrists, try to cover it up to here, right? If it opens a little bit, it's okay, because our sleeves, they go up. So your face and your hands, and these are the only things that need to be exposed. So be careful that women, they have to cover their full arms. Sometimes women are praying with their short sleeves. You can see their arms. That's not correct. You have to cover your full arms, your full legs. It's not like men that you have to go, it's only up to the knees. That is the aura that's different. Now you have to cover the full aura for the prayers. That is like you have to cover your entire legs, including the ankles. It has to be your pants have to go up to the ankles, including the ankles, and the material has to be non-transparent. The material has to be opaque. Sometimes women are wearing some kind of a scarf or some kinds of clothes, but they are so see-through. So that's not allowed. You have to cover your whole body. It's best to keep something for your prayer. Like you see the prayer, have you seen the prayer thing that comes? You know that, right? It's available in shops. So it's covered your whole face, including like your whole body, except your face. It covers your ears, it covers your neck. Your neck and your ears and everything have to be covered. Okay? It just have to be covered properly. If a small area of the place that you are covering, that you have to cover, if it becomes uncovered during prayer sometimes, then you should at once, as soon as you see, just put it. Suppose your sleeve went up, you just keep it down. Suppose your hijab went up, bring it down. But if a large area is uncovered, this is like a small area, if a large area is uncovered, then your prayer must be repeated. For your prayer, you have to cover your entire body. For example, if you are praying and your hijab falls down, suppose you have a silk or a chiffon or something hijab that just falls down, or your baby is with you and she or he pulls your hijab, then you must, and it's gone off during the prayer, you must repeat the prayer. If the thigh of a man is exposed during prayer, for some reason, he must repeat the prayer. Okay? Another requirement for prayer is that you have to, somebody said, facing the Qibla? Yeah, facing the Qibla, that is the direction of the Kaaba. The Kaaba is the house of Allah in Mecca. So you have to face, now we are sitting here. How do we know which way is Kaaba? So there are so many compasses, there are so many programs, it's built into your phones, or you can just use a simple compass. If you don't find anything, you just go out, you see, okay, which way is the sun? In North America, we know that the direction of the Kaaba is northeast, right? So you will face the northeast. It's not northeast over here, it's like this way, but since I'm talking to you, I'm just saying northeast. So if you say this is east, this is west, this is north, then you face towards the northeast. If you are somewhere else, you may be facing somewhere, because you have to face the Kaaba or the Qibla. So whatever you can use, you use a compass, or you can calculate based on the position of the sun, the moon, it's night time, you are in a desert, you have gone camping, where is the Qibla now? And you don't have a phone, your phone doesn't have reception, what do? You look at the stars, you look at the moon, you try to make a educated guess. If you cannot figure out the direction of the Kaaba in any way, just estimate by looking at the direction of the roads. Sometimes they're there, okay, this is the road we came on. This is an east-west road. Especially in the US, you're going south, you're going east, you're going west. Try to make a good guess from that. Even if you can't do that, ask somebody who's there, which way is north? I mean, if he's not a Muslim, you will say, which way is north? Then you calculate. Use your best judgment. If there is no way that you can find the direction of the Qibla, just say it in any direction. Just say it in any direction. But after you've tried. Now suppose you were praying in one direction, right? You're praying in one direction, and somebody comes and says, hey, that's not the correct direction. I saw it on my compass. Then you should move during the prayer to that direction. Suppose I was praying this side. So no, you just move. Move in the correct direction. Somebody tells you. During the prayer, your prayer will be valid. Your prayer will not break. However, if you discover that you prayed in the wrong direction, and you finished your prayer, you don't need to repeat that prayer, because you already tried your best. If you didn't try, you just, let me pray, Allah is everywhere, I can just say, no, that attitude is not correct. Allah is watching, He is everywhere by His knowledge, but the thing is, He also asked us to face the Qibla. It's in the Quran, okay? So you may pray in any direction. If you just can't find, you have tried your best and there is no way to find. Now you're starting your prayer. Before you start your prayer, you know that you have to concentrate in your prayer. You have to have humility in your prayer. You are standing in front of God, standing in front of Allah. You have to be humble. How do you do that? How do you focus? How do you concentrate in your prayer? If you pray your prayer perfectly in the physical sense, all your actions are correct, but it is devoid of spirit and concentration, it will be like, you can say, a fruit which may appear to be clean and pure on the outside, but it is actually rotten on the inside. Do you want your prayer to be rotten? No. So try to get humility. There are some useful tips which I can give you. There are a long list of tips, but I can just give you a few to increase your concentration during your prayer. Before beginning your prayer, clear your mind from all other thoughts. Whatever you are thinking, business, work, job, school, exams, just forget it. Clear your mind. For that particular time, clear your mind from all other thoughts. Make sure you turn off or you mute anything that may distract you during your prayer. You have your food on the stove, put off the stove. Just put everything off. It is better to pray in a place where there are no distractions. So every part of and then when you're praying, you try to focus on the prayer by moving your lips and whispering aloud. If you're just playing, you won't be, you can't concentrate fully. So move your lips. You have to move your lips so that you can hear your own voice in your own ear. Not like the whole world should listen to you. It's just like your sound should come. You should be able to hear it yourself. It will help you stay focused. Then before starting the prayer, once you've learned the prayer, you try to understand what the prayer means, what the wordings of the prayer mean. Because you will be reciting in Arabic, right? So you have to try and understand the meaning, the translation. Try to learn the translation of the prayer and try to reflect on the meaning of the prayer when you are saying any of the phrases, any of the ayat, any of the verses. When you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin, you should have in your mind, okay, yes, I'm talking about Allah, that all praise and all thanks they belong to Allah. And who is the Lord of all worlds, who is the Lord of universe. So it's like this, you will have concentration. We are thinking about the meaning. And then whenever you say Allahu Akbar, when you start your prayer, when you say Allahu Akbar means Allah is the greatest. Then you keep in your mind that Allah is the greatest, meaning He is greater than whatever you are thinking, whatever you might be thinking or planning before the prayer. That statement, Allahu Akbar, should remove every other thought from you. So now let us start the actual prayer. How do you do a 2-unit prayer, the 2 rakat prayer? Like I said, the Fajr prayer is 2 rakats, right? The morning prayer is 2 rakat. Alhamdulillah, the Prophet ﷺ taught his companions how to pray, and it has reached us from generation to generation. So first of all, like I said, select a place where you will not be disturbed or distracted. What is the best thing to do? Stand facing to a wall. If there is a wall, just stand. If this way is Qibla, you stand here, so you are facing the wall, so that or a pillar in the room or something. You face a wall, you face a pillar, so that any distraction that comes, you can avoid it. And I told you, like, you've put off your phone and everything. If there is no wall, there is no pillar, what to do? Keep like a chair in front of you, something large in front of you, so that no one crosses you. You don't get distracted. Everybody is moving from here to there. You have a chair in front of you. If you are praying on a prayer mat, you don't have to pray on a prayer mat, but if you are praying on a prayer mat, then the edges of that mat, it acts as a barrier for you. That is your space. So nobody should cross that while you are praying. Comes to intention now. You have selected the place, you are standing. Now you have the sincere intention again in your heart that this prayer is solely for Allah. I'm doing it for Allah. Again, no need to mention, to verbalize the intention. So be conscious of what prayer you are performing. Which time of the prayer, you can come here. Which prayer you are performing. You have to know that. In order to start your prayer, you have to know that. Then the first part of the prayer is while you are standing. You stand up straight with your hands on your sides, both hands on your sides. Your feet should be pointing forward, and your feet should be separated, like spread apart at the length of at least like 1 hand span, like this much. It should not be, you don't have to measure it. It's like just keep your feet a little apart, and it should not be like too far apart, like crossing your shoulders with, okay? Your eyes should be focused on the ground where you will be prostrating. And it is obligatory to pray standing, except if you cannot stand. If you are sick, you are injured, or you are unable to stand for some other reason. Okay, otherwise that part of the prayer is standing. So if you are sick, you have any injury, or you are unable to stand, then you may sit for that standing part as well. If you are not able to sit also, then you may lie down on your back, and like you're lying down on your back and you're facing the Qibla. This is the Qibla, so you're lying down on your back and you're facing the Qibla. And you pray with gestures. You cannot get up, you cannot stand, you cannot sit, so you're just lying down. If you think that the Qibla is this side, if the Qibla is this side, then you can also turn on this side, lie on your side, and put your face, face the Qibla. Because those are some of the essentials, facing the Qibla. So instead of standing, you are sitting. Instead of sitting, you are lying down. And in lying down, you just pray with your gestures. So many concessions, you see. All of this indicates that you cannot miss your prayer. You should not miss your prayer, okay? If you are on a plane, what do? You may just pray while sitting on your seat. You can't get up. Suppose there's turbulence. What happens? Suppose somebody wants to pass by and you're in the rows where people are passing. No, don't make it inconvenient for others. Just sit in your place and pray. So first thing what you do is you stand, make the intention, you stand, then you raise up your hands up to your shoulders or to the level of your earlobes. The shoulders or the earlobes, but no need to touch the earlobes. Without touching, right? Some people touch like this, some people go like this, some people go like this. That's not correct. Make sure that the palms of your hand are facing the Qibla, forward. So either you do this, it's all okay. Is this Allahu Akbar? Yes, correct. Allahu Akbar. Okay, do like this. No need to touch this, no need to do this, no need to go like this. Okay, all these are not correct. So what are you saying? You are saying Allahu Akbar, putting everything behind you, and it also means that you are surrendering, you are submitting yourselves to the Lord of the worlds, and you are leaving your own desires, and you are doing what He commanded. You are obeying Allah. This is the starting of your prayer. While you're raising your hands, I said you say Allahu Akbar. It can be just before, it can be after. It doesn't have exactly coinciding with like, oh, my hands have to come here and then I have to say Allahu Akbar. No, it's just before, after, right after. Allahu Akbar, you say, and then you start your prayer. So this is the starting of your prayer. Place your right hand on top of your left hand. This is a must, okay? Right hand on top of the left hand. How do you keep your hands? There are different ways the Prophet ﷺ has shown us. So you can keep like this. It should be on the chest, around the chest, below the chest, okay? Just this chest area. So either you keep like this. Can all of you see me? So either you keep your hands like this, one on top of the other. Basically, there are three ways, okay? So one is like this. The other is like you hold your arm like this. And the third is you hold it like this, okay? All three, like this, and like this. Whichever suits you. Whichever is comfortable for you, do that, right on the left. And then you say the opening supplication. So all these things, the supplications that we are doing, I know, like I told you before, that you cannot memorize them in one day. I will have to send you these, and I will send you all the things in Arabic and also in Spanish and also in English and the transliteration, so you can read it easily. So you say Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik wa tabarakasmuka wa ta'ala jadduka wa la ilaha ghayruka. It means that you are declaring the perfection of Allah. Okay, just in small words, you are praising Allah and you are declaring the perfection of Allah. Then you recite A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, which means you are seeking refuge from the shaitan. You are seeking refuge in Allah from the shaitan who is cursed. From the devil, from Iblis, from shaitan, you are seeking refuge. So, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And then you recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So you did Allahu Akbar, put your hands before the sana, before the praise, the opening supplication. You don't need to say A'udhu Billah and Bismillah. After you say Subhanakallahumma, then you say A'udhu Billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Why? Because now you are going to start the Quran, reciting the Quran. So you must say this before reciting the Quran. What part of the Quran do you recite first? Only Surah Fatiha. I hope all of you have started learning Surah Fatiha. If not, somebody is a brand new Muslim, just start learning to recite Surah Fatiha. It's easy, it's a short surah, it's got just 7 verses, and inshallah you will learn it very fast. I have known people who say they can learn it in 1 day or 2 days. Do it as fast as you can. If you can't, take your time. Do it, but try to do it devotedly. Nowadays, it's so easy. Put the Surah Fatiha in take a headphone, put it in your ears, just listen to it a few times. 40 times will make you memorize the whole Quran, So do it 40 times and you'll be okay, inshallah. So you say the Surah Fatiha, which is the first chapter of the Quran. After finishing Surah Fatiha, say Ameen. What does Ameen means? Oh Allah, accept this from me. Because in Surah Fatiha, you are praising Allah, and then you are asking for a dua. You are making a dua, you are asking for something. What are you asking for? You are asking for guidance. You are saying, oh Allah, guide me to the straight path. Oh Allah, please guide me to the path of those people whom you have conferred your favor upon. And oh Allah, please save me. Save me from going towards the way of those people whom either you have your wrath upon them, you are angry with them, or who have gone astray. So we are asking for something from Allah. So when you ask, you make a dua, you make a supplication, then you always say, Ameen, oh Allah, please accept this prayer. Then you recite something from the Quran. It could be a complete surah, like a short surah. Most of the converts, they tell me that they recite Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Surah Ikhlas, or Surah Al-Kawthar, Inna A'tainaka. These are the 2 shortest surahs in the Quran. So you see, either you recite a surah, short surah, or you can recite any verses that you know from the Quran. So you finish Surah Fatiha, you say Ameen, and then you say, if you're starting a new surah, you say Bismillah. If you're not starting a new surah, it's some ayat, you can just go randomly to some ayat. Then you finish this, then you say Allahu Akbar, raise your hands, say Allahu Akbar, and you bend into bowing. Do the ruku'. The bowing is called the ruku' in Arabic. So that's the bowing. You go, you bend. Can somebody, can you do it in front of them? Sorry. Okay, so the bowing, you know that, just come here.
Over there?
Yeah. So the bowing has to be like, look, you try to do your best. Yeah, bend it. So your back, yeah, and then you go into bowing. So your back is straight. Try to keep your back as straight as you can. Nobody is going to come and measure, right? Normally they say so that if you put a cup of water on it, it shouldn't spill, right? Yeah, this is okay. So some people cannot bow properly. It's okay. You have some back problem, anything, you bow as much as you can. So that is your bowing. And how do you do? How did you keep your keep your palms, the fingers, spread your fingers, keep your palms on your knees, spread your fingers slightly so that you can hold your knees firmly. You are holding your knees firmly. Your eyes should be focused on the feet. Yani, not focusing like, what are my feet like? What are my fingers doing? No, just look at your feet. Try to keep your back as straight as possible and your elbows away from your side. Your elbows should be away from you. So while you're doing your bowing, your ruku, your elbows should be away from the side. In the position of ruku, you have to say 3 times, Subhana Rabbiyal Azim, which means, glory be to my Lord, right? So, and He is the great. So you are praising Allah while you are bowing. Just stay there so you can do the sujood as well, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. So then, if you're not able to bow, some people cannot bow because of their back problems. If you cannot bow, then you can bow with just gestures, right? Suppose you are sitting and praying. You're sitting and praying. You cannot bow. You can just go this. Just put your hands on your knees and just go like this. That's it. A little bit of bending. If you're lying down, you can't bow. You're just lying down. You just gesture. You're doing something that Allah knows that you are praying, and then, because if you can speak, you can pray, you can recite. That's what Allah wants. You are leaving everything else and you're obeying Allah, you are praying to Allah. So if you're unable to bow, you may bow with gestures. Then you get up from your bowing saying, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana walakal hamd, or Rabbana lakal hamd. Rabbana walakal hamd or Rabbana lakal hamd, it's not that different. It means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has heard the one who praised Him. The one who praised Him, Allah has heard, and then you say, our Lord, you are praised. You are praised. Oh, our Lord, you are praised. Then After coming up from the ruku, from the bowing, again you put your hands up. Okay, there's a difference of opinion. Some people don't raise their hands up while going into the ruku and coming up from the ruku. So you raise while you're coming up from. Can you show? You're coming up from the ruku. Get up and raise your. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Okay. Now you've stood up. You've said Sami Allahu liman hamida. Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Then what do? Stand completely straight, not like halfway. I see some people who are halfway from the ruku and they go into the sujood. So sujood is the prostration. So let all your limbs come back to their position. Go straight, original position, and then say Allahu Akbar again, and now go into prostration. So now you say Allahu Akbar and you can tell them, is it okay? Can you prostrate? No problem with your, okay. So with the prostration, you have to see how he sits. Face this side so they can see your, because prostration is you go with both your hands, put both your palms on the floor. You put your both hands on the floor, your fingers pointing towards the Qibla. You don't need to make pictures. We are going to send you. It will be online. Okay, you can just watch the whole thing. So unless there's something that will not come in so you can make. I'm not stopping you from doing, but I'm saying it's convenient that you. So you go on you put your forehead and your nose on the ground, which I think you understand, not a big problem. And then you can just see the brother how he's doing the sujood. Okay, so he's putting both hands on the floor. You can stand up. If you can't see, you can stand up. So both your hands are on both sides of your, away from your head, like near your ears, or you can say near your shoulders, and your fingers are together and facing the Qibla. And make sure that your elbows are not touching the floor. Make sure your elbows are above the ground. Okay. So your elbows are off the ground and away from your sides. Your feet should be upright. Your feet should be upright. Your fingers, your nails of your toes should be facing the Qibla. So your feet are like this. Okay. Inshallah, I can send you pictures of that. I have some pictures if I can.
It's like 7 points touching, 2 feet, knees, 2 hands.
Yeah. So all of this is touching the floor. Then your the elbows are up. Your forehead and your nose is touching the floor. Your elbows are your feet are upright, and then keep space between your stomach and your thighs so that your body is spread out. You shouldn't go on the floor like a. Don't spread out on the floor like a dog. Like a dog sits fully. That's important that you keep yourself a little higher. So remember, this position is the closest to Allah. You are the closest to Allah in this position. You are the closest to Allah in this position. In that position, while you are closest to Allah, you say 3 times Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, which means my Lord is perfect and He's the Most High. My Lord is perfect and He's the Most High. You are humbling down to Allah, the forehead, the nose, which is the everything that one thinks about. Oh, sometimes they say, oh, my face is so beautiful, my nose, my forehead, everything, your ego, your pride. You're putting everything down, being humble, close to Allah and praising Allah. Brother, you can sit, but you'll have to show again how to sit for the last rak'ah. So you say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la 3 times. If you're not able to say 3 times, at least once is most important. Suppose you can't make it, there's no time, just make it once. Okay. If you're unable to prostrate, then what do? You just, like you were sitting and you were bowing, you just go a little lower for prostration. Like you go this much for bowing, you go this much for prostration. That's it. It's just gestures. It's all symbolic. Then you rise up from the sajda, from the prostration, sit on the floor with your palms on your thighs near the knees, both hands like this. Keep your fingers together. Your eyes again should be directed at your knees, and then spread your foot. Okay. Your eyes should be directed on your knees and spread your. No, this is for the second rak'ah. This is okay. Yeah. Okay. You sit and then again go for the second sujood. Okay. I thought I'd done the second sujood. Do not rush for the second sujood. Sit down and then again pause, and then go for the second sujood by saying Allahu Akbar. So you said Allahu Akbar, you went into prostration, then you got up by saying Allahu Akbar, you put your hands, I think I forgot to say Allahu Akbar. You get up from your prostration by saying Allahu Akbar, you put your hands here, sit down for a brief pause, don't rush, not coming halfway and then going back into sujood. Then you sit here, and then again after a few seconds go back, say Allahu Akbar, and make the second prostration. Okay, so 2 prostrations. There was 1 bowing and there is 2 prostrations. So you go say Allahu Akbar, second prostration, then again you say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la 3 times, and then you say Allahu Akbar, and then you return to the standing position. 1 unit is complete. This is 1 unit of prayer, 1 full unit of prayer, or 1 rak'ah, that is complete. When you stand up again, then starts your second unit. Second unit is exactly the same as the first unit, except that when you start, you don't do the opening supplication. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, you don't do that, and you don't say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. 2 things you skip in the second rak'ah or the second unit, and you start with Bismillah. You start with Bismillah, say Allahu Akbar, stand up, put your hands again, and then you start with Bismillah, Surah Fatiha, then another surah or some ayat, go into the bowing, get up, go into the prostration, go into the second prostration. Once you've done that, then you sit, and this is what I was saying, that the brother will have to show you how to sit. I can show you pictures as well, inshallah, or I can send it to you, the pictures that you have to sit with. When you are sitting, your left leg, your left foot should be like this, underneath your body. You sit on the left leg. Can you show?
Do it here?
Yeah, then they can see it. Yeah. So sorry. So they have to see your back side. So you do it. No, you do it here, this side, so they can see. So they can see it. So you put your left foot, and you sit on your left foot, and keep your right foot straight like this, vertical. These people can see. Can you just turn? Yeah. So your right foot has to be straight like this, and the fingers pointing towards the Qibla. So it's like this. Sitting on your left foot comfortably. Don't be uncomfortable, because praying you have to be comfortable. Sit down on your left foot, and then make your right foot like this, standing. If it's a bit here and there, it's okay. It's not like you have to be vertical exactly. And then you start, you put your hands on your thighs, close to the knees, with your fingers, your fingers pointing towards the Qibla, and then you start reciting the tashahhud. This tashahhud is, again I have to send you this, at-tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibatu. This is a whole phrase that you have to learn, and after that you declare the shahada again. Ashhadu Allah, yes brother, it's okay. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, again you have to declare. So I will send you all this material once you know the positions correctly and you know what to say when. Inshallah, I will send you all of this. So these are actually the greetings. At-tahiyyat means these are the greetings, all the prayers that belong to Allah, and then you say, may the peace of Allah be with you, O Prophet. You are sending the peace on the Prophet, as well as the Allah's mercies and blessings, and also you are sending the peace of Allah be with all the righteous servants of Allah. And then you declare the shahada, that you are said this, and then again you are making your shahada, confirming your shahada, that I declare that no one else is deserving of or worthy of worship besides Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his servant and his messenger. After that, you recite the blessings on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, the finger. I'm telling you about the finger. I forgot to tell you about the finger. The finger, again, there are differences of opinion. One opinion is that when you sit down, as soon as you sit down in tashahhud, you roll your hand like this, roll your fist like this, and your palm like this, and then what you do is you pick up you raise your index finger in the direction of the Qibla. Okay, so you're sitting down, you have made this into just curving it, and you're holding it like this. You can hold it throughout from at-tahiyyat until the end of the prayer, or you can keep moving it throughout from at-tahiyyat until the end of the prayer. There is one opinion that you just don't do, just keep it like this, or you just keep it like this and you just raise it once. what I do is I start and I just make my fingers, I move my fingers until the end of the prayer. I start at tahiyyat and I move my fingers until the end of the prayer. So all these are okay, whatever you do. And then after saying the salutations to the Prophet ﷺ, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin, again I'm going to send you all of this so you have all the material. So you say that, and Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin, again sending salutations on the Prophet ﷺ. Then you memorize some of the supplications that you can, anything that you can easily learn. Rabbana atina fid dunya, or you can say Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabi jahannam. I can send you a few supplications that you can do. Maybe one is enough, but you can do 2, 3 more, as many as you like, before you end the prayer. Okay, now this is the second rak'ah, right? This is the second rak'ah, or the second unit of the prayer. Once you do all this, after the attahiyat and after the salutations and after the supplications, the dua, then what do? You make the takbir, you make the taslim. Taslim is what? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah on the right side, and then assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah on the left side. Your prayer is over. Okay, the 2 rak'ats or the 2 unit prayer is over. If it is a 3 unit prayer, like you did 2 rak'ats, but in Maghrib I told you for Maghrib prayer, the after sunset prayer, you have to pray 3 rak'ats instead of 2. What do you do then? You pray exactly the same way. Come into the second unit. In the second unit, after saying the salutations, after doing the attahiyat, don't do the salutations. After doing the attahiyat and then the greetings, and then after doing the declaration of the shahada, say Allahu Akbar and get up. So this was kind of 1.5 rakahs. It was 2 rakahs, but it seemed like it's 1.5 rakahs because you didn't pray the salutations on the Prophet ﷺ. So you get up after saying attahiyat, and then after making the shahada, you get up. You get up for this completes your 2 rakahs. Now you start the 3rd rakah. For the 3rd rakah, again you do it just like the second rakah, like you miss the opening supplication. You don't do the Auzu Billah. You just pray the Bismillah and Surah Fatiha. And you don't add any other surah to it. You finish at Surah Fatiha. In the 3rd rakah, you do Surah Fatiha, you say Ameen, and you say Allahu Akbar and go into bowing. Okay? So remember, first 2 rakahs, you were saying Surah Fatiha plus a little bit more of the Quran. In the 3rd unit, you don't say after Surah Fatiha, you finish Surah Fatiha, you say Ameen, oh Allah, accept my prayer, and you go, say Allahu Akbar and go into the bowing. Now you do everything just like you did in the 2nd rakah, like you do your sujood, your prostration, you get up, again do the 2nd prostration, you get up, you sit, you do the greetings, you do the salutations on the Prophet, you do your dua, and then you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is the 3 rakahs, which is for Maghrib. Okay, remember, after the sunset. If you are doing 4 rakahs, which is for Zohar, for Asr, and for Isha, what do? Again, you do just like the 2 rakahs. In the 2nd rakat, after doing the greetings and the salutations, the greetings and the shahada, and then you get up. You make the 3rd rakah just like you did in the 3rd rakah before. Again, you get up after the sujood and you make the 4th rakah. In the 4th rakah, you do again the same thing. You don't pray the opening supplication. No, Auzu billahi minash shaitani rajim. You start with Bismillah and you do the Surah Fatiha and no more surahs. Surah Fatiha, again Allahu Akbar. So it was just like the 3rd rakah, but after the 4th rakah, now you sit down. After the 3rd rakah, you got up, right? In the 4th rakah, you sit down and you pray the whole prayer, the greetings, the shahada, and the salutations and the supplications, and then you do Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum. It is too fast. It will be a little difficult for you right now. If you are taking notes, fine. Then you will have all the things in short. I will send you, inshallah, all the material that I have, and inshallah, this video will be available for you to watch again and again. I will give you the link, inshallah, so you can watch again and again, inshallah. So remember, prayer is an obligation as long as you are conscious. Even if you can pray, barely pray with gestures. If you are unconscious If you're unconscious for 5 prayers or less, like a whole day, you must make them after gaining consciousness. Like you were in a surgery or something, or you were unconscious, accident or whatever, God forbid, then when you gain consciousness, you make that prayer for the whole day. However, if you are unconscious for more than one day, it's more than one day, then there is no need to make it up. It is for consciousness, okay? After finishing the prayer, there are some azkar, there are some ways of remembering Allah, and I will inshallah send you that also. I'll quickly go through it. When you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, then you say Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah. I think most of the converts have learned how to say Astaghfirullah. So you say it like 3 times, Astaghfirullah. It means I'm seeking forgiveness from Allah. And whatever shortcomings were in that prayer, may Allah forgive me. It means that you are saying Astaghfirullah just because of this prayer that you did. There may be some shortcoming. Then you recite the Ayat al-Kursi, which is the verse of the throne, Allahu la ilaha. Inshallah, I will send you this also. Then you make tasbih of Allah. You glorify Allah by saying 33 times, Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. 33 times Alhamdulillah, 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 and 33 times or 34 times Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. If you say it 33 times, then the last, you have to make it 100 altogether. So the last time is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Or you say 34 times Allahu Akbar. It completes your tasbih, yani glorifying Allah. You are glorifying Allah, you are praising Allah, you are thanking Allah, you are saying Allah is the greatest. It is also recommended, it is a sunnah to recite 3 surahs after finishing your prayer. Surah Ikhlas, Surah Falaq, and Surah Nas. These are the last 3 surahs in the Quran. Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, and Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. This is the end of the prayer. Now let us see what is allowed during the prayer. What is allowed? You can cry out of the fear of Allah. It is allowed during the prayer. Crying will not break your prayer. Unless you start like howling and bawling and loud crying. No, you can cry out. When you're crying from the fear of Allah, it's not that loud, right? You can recline due to illness or due to old age. Otherwise, you shouldn't recline. I mean, if you're sitting on a chair, you should sit like this. Unless you can't sit without a support, then you sit like this. Okay? Remember that. Carrying a child. Some people think that you cannot carry your child. The child goes on crying and crawling and running and disturbing the whole place, and this is not fair to the child. It's not fair to the child. If you have a small child, you can carry the child while you are praying. The Prophet ﷺ allowed it. Then you can also pray with your shoes on. Some people think you have to take off your shoes while you are praying. If you are praying in a masjid, if you are praying on a carpet, obviously you will take off your shoes. If you are praying in a place where it is required for the shoes to be taken off, in a masjid, in a mosque. But if you are praying here, you can pray with your shoes on. If you are praying anywhere in the forest, in the desert, on the beach, when the beach you will have your shoes off. But if you are praying anywhere, in the mall, at a station, at an airport, you don't have to take off your shoes, okay? Now, these are the things that are allowed in the prayer. What are the things that invalidate the prayer? Some things, if they happen, your prayer gets nullified. You have to repeat your prayer. What? Number 1, losing your wudu, right? Remember, you have to be in a state of wudu. You have to be in a state of purification when you are praying. So if you lose your wudu, that means you have to make wudu again. You have to break the prayer and your prayer is broken. You have to go make wudu and start again. Turning your whole chest away from the Qibla. Turning your face is okay, but turning your whole chest away from the Qibla also breaks your wudu. But if you are somewhere, for example, you are performing Umrah, you've gone for Hajj, somebody is pushing you, and you go like this or like that, then it's okay, because that time is a special time, unique time. Okay, performing several consecutive movements which are unnecessary and not part of the prayer. Itching is okay, because itching is like natural. You can't stop. You stop it for a while, but then you say, no, it's itching, I have to feel comfortable. You can itch. You can cover your mouth if there is a yawn. Try to suppress your yawn as much as you can. Just, it will be inside your mouth, but don't do like this, okay? But if you're doing like this, suppose it happens, you can't stop it, then put your hand on the mouth. If you are sneezing, you're blowing your nose, be careful, don't make it too much. If you are coughing, you can put your hand, all these things are allowed, only a little bit. Not that you're continuously doing it. You're just continuously in your prayer and you're scratching and scratching, unless you have an illness, you have a disease, then nobody's stopping you. But if not that, then try to focus on the prayer instead of focusing on your body. Okay, so these are the things. And during the prayer, you cannot speak something other than the prayer. You cannot say something. So even if you're carrying your child, you cannot say, shh, shh, don't talk, mommy is here, no, daddy is here, no, you can't do that. So if it is not part of the prayer, if you need to signal somebody during the prayer, how do you do that? Such as there's a visitor and he's asking you something, you can just let them know that you are praying. Suppose they don't know, and then you just say, if it's a Muslim, they will know, you just say subhanallah and then pray again. Don't talk to them. You can briefly signal with your hand. Suppose you want to say, suppose somebody is looking for something and they're driving you crazy, we are praying and they're saying, where is this, and mom, and where is that, and you can just briefly point, it's there, Not, you don't say it's there, but you just point briefly. Try to not get into that situation. Try to do everything before you start. I told you about the yawn, and I told you about the children, and you cannot speak to them and suppress your yawn, and then laughing out loud. You shouldn't laugh out loud during prayer. Like we say LOL, you didn't write LOL. You are not supposed to take your phone in your hand and say LOL. Don't text during your phone. During the prayer. Don't carry your phone during your prayer, okay? So some people, like I said, they want to learn the prayer and they keep the phone, but don't keep it in your hand. Keep the phone somewhere there, and you can hear it. Put it on speaker so you can hear the whole recitation and you can follow it. And if your laughter is so, like something happened and maybe the child did something and you just had to laugh, then try to control your laughter. And if it's just a little bit only you can hear, your prayer will not be broken. But if you laugh out loud, then the purpose of the prayer is defeated. If there is need to break your prayer, you may just break your prayer and leave. Why do you break your prayer? In what situations? If your life is in danger, maybe in danger. You don't know whether it is, but maybe an earthquake or whatever, or there's fighting going on or something, you can break your prayer, okay? So these things you can break. If there is a poisonous animal, you're on camping, you're praying and you see a snake coming or anything, a scorpion or whatever, you can break your prayer. You don't have to say, no, Allah will protect me. No, that's not the attitude. Allah will protect you, but Allah has allowed you to break your prayer. So you break your prayer. If somebody else is in danger, you are praying and you know that there's a fire, or you know there's a child is on the verge of just falling somewhere, or that his life is in danger, or there's a pool over there and the child might get into the pool, you have to stop praying and you have to save the child, okay? If you see that somebody is stealing your possessions, it has happened a few times over here. Non-Muslims have entered mosques and they have stolen things. It has happened not only here but also at airports. If you see your purse is lying here and somebody is picking you can break your prayer and take your purse. Or you can just grab your purse. You don't have to break your purse, just grab your purse and keep it near you. Put it in here. If something is burning, you know that it can catch fire. You can break your prayer. Burning, literally burning, not like a match, but something which can get fire. If you need to relieve yourself, you want to go to the toilet, you are in need of going to the toilet, you shouldn't continue your prayer. You should break it, go to the toilet, relieve yourself, make wudu again, and come back. There is another thing. You are praying, but your focus went away for a little bit, and now you don't remember how many units you did. You were supposed to do 4 units, right? For Zohar, for Asr, for Isha. And suddenly you think, oh my God, how many units did I do? Did I do 1? Did I do 2? Did I do 3? Or have I completed 4? What do? You are unsure. So you have to take it default that whatever you remember. If you remember exactly you've done 2 rakats, but you're not sure about the 3rd rakat, then whatever you are certain about, you base on that, and then you make 2 sujood, 2 prostrations of forgetfulness, and you continue your prayer. Let me tell you how to do that. You continue your prayer. If you think, oh, you did 2 instead of 3, so you make another 2 or make another 1, or if you said you were supposed to do 4 and you did only 2, make another 2 rakahs, complete the 2 rakahs, and before finishing the prayer, before doing the assalamu alaikum, what you do is you go into sujood. After all the dua and everything, you go into prostration 1 time, subhana rabbiyal a'la, Allahu akbar, subhana rabbiyal a'la, subhana rabbiyal a'la. You get up, Allahu Akbar, you go again while sitting, go into prostration again, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la 3 times, and then you get up and then you make the Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullah Assalam. This is a way how if you missed something in the prayer, don't make it a habit to do it all the time. But if you forgot, if you are not sure how many rakahs you've done, or you missed something which is not an essential part of the prayer, you missed something and say, oh, I didn't do that, just make the sujood of sahu, or the 2 prostrations of forgetfulness. There are certain times when you are not allowed to pray. What are the timings when you are forbidden to pray? After you have prayed your fajr, your morning prayer, do not pray anything until the sun rises. Do not pray anything after Fajr prayer, after the morning prayer, any other prayer. You can do Quran, you can do Tasbih, you can do whatever. You can make the remembrance of Allah, but don't make another prayer until the sun rises. But if there is a reason to pray, then it is okay to pray. For example, there is a funeral prayer at that time, you can pray. Or you missed your prayer, then you can make that up at Fajr time, after Fajr. Second forbidden time is during sunrise, while the sun is rising. While the sun is rising. It takes about 15 minutes, right? While the sun starts, you can see the start of the rising of the disk, and by the time it goes up, 10-15 minutes. So make it that, just to be on the safe side, just wait 15 minutes. Don't pray any prayer while the sun is rising, okay? After 15 minutes, when the sun has gone up, it's bright, then you can pray. Third time is when the sun is at its zenith. Remember, I told you the sun is at the top. Your shadow is the smallest. That is again about 15 minutes. It is the time, remember I told you that once it crosses the zenith, the time for Zohar starts. So at that time, just before Zohar, about 10-15 minutes before Zohar, don't start another prayer. It is okay to pray again, if there is a need. If it's a funeral prayer, or if you are when you go to for Umrah or for Hajj, you are performing the tawaf. After that, you have 2 rakahs. You can pray that. You are entering into a masjid and you pray a tahiyatul masjid, the salutations to the masjid. These things are, but there are differences of opinion what time you can pray and what time you can't pray these. During sunset, again the sunrise, just like the sunrise, the sunset is also about 15 minutes. So while the sun is setting, do not pray at that time. Just wait another 15 minutes, while the sun is setting. When the sun sets fully, then it's time for Maghrib. However, if for some reason you missed your Asr prayer, the late afternoon prayer, then you can pray the late afternoon prayer until the sun sets. I told you before sunset, like 15 minutes while the sun is setting, don't pray. But if you have missed your Asr prayer and it's time, you were driving, you were whatever, you couldn't pray, or you fell asleep, you wanted to pray but you just overslept, your alarm didn't work, or you closed the alarm, you went back to sleep, something can happen, then you can still say your prayer just at the time of sunset, okay? But you should try your best to pray Asr earlier. These are the 5 daily prayers. Other than these, you have some sunnah or recommended prayers which are highly recommended to pray. And if you pray these prayers, these are along with the obligatory prayers, the 5 daily prayers. So I'll go quickly through it because I want you to ask questions. 2 rakats, 2 units before Fajr. It is highly recommended to pray that prayer 2 before Fajr. So 2 is the obligatory, but before that you pray the 2 rakats in the same way that you pray 2 rakats before the Fajr obligatory prayer when the time has set in, of course. So these 2 rakats are sunnah prayers. They are recommended, not obligatory. Then the Prophet ﷺ said these 2 rakats even while he was traveling. Otherwise, during traveling, you don't have to pray your sunnah, but he used to pray these. Then 2 or 4 rakats units of prayers before your Zohar, before the midday prayer. 2 rakats after the Maghrib and 2 rakats after the Isha prayer. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever prays these 10 or 12 rakahs in a day, a house will be built for him or her in paradise. So it's recommended, it's not obligatory. If you don't have time, you don't pray. You get a reward by praying these voluntary prayers, and they also bring you closer to Allah, because Allah says, my slave comes closer to me, the most closer to me, when he is praying his obligatory, doing his obligatory deeds. But the second most important thing is the voluntary deeds. And these prayers also make up for any shortcomings in your 5 daily prayers. And these prayers you can say while sitting, even in the car, anywhere, right? One very important prayer is the witr prayer. The witr means odd number, like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. The Prophet ﷺ would never miss his witr prayer even when he was traveling. The odd prayer, which is prayed at the time after Isha. After you pray your night prayer, like the 4 rakahs, and if you do the voluntary prayer, then you do 3 rakahs of witr after Isha prayer. In Ramadan, you will notice when you go to the masjid, inshallah, for Taraweeh, you will pray the Taraweeh, whoever can go, then you will notice that after Taraweeh, they have witr prayer. Like it's an odd number, 3 rakahs of witr prayer. There are different ways of praying the Salatul Witr. One is like you pray all 3 units together without sitting in the middle. One is like you pray 2 rakahs, you make the salam, and then you pray 1 separate rakat. And the third one is like the Hanafi way, is like the Maghrib prayer, like you pray 2 rakahs, you sit down, and then you get up. In the witr prayer, there is an extra recitation of qunut. So if you can learn the qunut, it's very good, pray the qunut. If you miss it, it doesn't invalidate your prayer. Another thing that most of the new Muslims ask is how to join the prayer in Jama'ah. When there's a congregational prayer, when you go to a masjid, what happens? All males are strongly recommended that they pray 5 times in the masjid, okay, the 5 daily prayers in the masjid. Where there is no masjid, it's okay, they can at least pray in the group with other people. So if you miss the congregational prayers, like for men, if they are sick, they are traveling, if the weather is extreme, then they can, if there is danger to they cannot leave the house, then it's okay. But women and children should not also be discouraged from going to the masjid and pray. Some people think that women have to pray in the house. They can pray in the house, they can pray in the masjid. They are allowed to do both. It is not something that is forbidden in Islam. Some people think that no, women should not go to the masjid. So if they can go to the masjid, they should be encouraged to go to the masjid. If they can, to attend any classes, to attend any lessons or any events in the masjid, and even pray in the masjid. So for the group prayer, there is an imam. He is leading the prayer. Now all the rest of the rows are behind the imam. We are all the followers. The imam is leading, we are all the followers. The men have to be in the front, like you see in the masajid, in the mosques. The women are in the back rows or in a side room. Usually we are in the back rows. So women start their rows, forming the rows from the back side. They come forward. The men start from the front, they go to the back side. The children can either join the fathers or the mothers, or they can be in a separate row in between the men and the women. If there are only 2 people praying, like say you and your husband are praying, so the husband stands in the front and the wife stands behind the husband, and they can pray in Jama'ah at home. It's good to do that. If there are 2 men only, there are not so many rows, the 2 men stand side by side. If there are 3 men, 1 in the front and 2 at the back. Okay, clear? Don't leave any gaps. Sometimes we see that there are large gaps, and somebody wants to stand on the right, somebody wants to stand on the left. No, try to squeeze so that there is no space. So when the imam starts, he says Allahu Akbar, you also say, not before the imam, because we are supposed to follow the imam. He says Allahu Akbar, then you say Allahu Akbar, and you also, then let him do the recitation. When he is reciting aloud, you can keep quiet, or you can repeat it in your heart. When he finishes Surah Fatiha, you say Ameen. When he recites the surah, you listen to it again. When he goes into ruku, when he says Allahu Akbar, don't go before him. That's the point. Don't go before the imam, you have to follow the imam. When he goes into ruku, you go into ruku. So it's easy, just follow the imam, inshallah. The other thing is, if the imam moves to the next part of the prayer. Suppose it's a silent prayer and you're doing your Surah Fatiha, but the Imam was really fast, he finished it in no minute, and you are very slow and you can't do it because you're still learning how to do the Fatiha, and you say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin, and you see the Imam goes into, or you joined late and the Imam goes into ruku, what do? You leave the Fatiha and you follow the Imam. Following the Imam takes precedence over finishing your own recitation. If the Imam makes a mistake in the prayer, he will do a sujood of forgetfulness, like I told you, you also do it. If you make a mistake, you don't have to do if you are behind the Imam. Your mistakes are taken care of. Okay, if you lose your wudu while you are praying in congregation in a masjid, if you lose your wudu, you should just leave the place, you should go, make your wudu and come back. If you can't come back to the same place, just find space and just stand wherever you can and join the place where the Imam is already doing whatever. Okay, and then those who are standing, who did not go for wudu, who did not break their wudu, they are in the line, they should fill that gap. They should not leave those gaps. They can move in the prayer. Remember, you can move in your prayer to fill in the gaps. What if you are late and the Imam has already started? A lot of people are really confused about how to join a congregational prayer when you are late. When you come in late, just come in, don't rush, don't run. You have to rush, walk fast, walk normally, walk fast, but don't run. The Prophet ﷺ don't come running to the prayer. Running means hastening is okay, but when you are coming, don't cross people and I want to go in the front row. No, don't try to do that. Just find whatever place you can, and then whatever the Imam is doing, whether he is in prostration, whether he is in bowing, whether he's sitting, whether he's standing, don't worry about that. Just say Allahu Akbar like you did standing, Allahu Akbar, and then you join wherever he is. If he is in prostration, you also do prostration. Now what happens? You do whatever he is doing, and suppose that was the last rakah, the last unit or the second last unit or whatever. What do? When the Imam finishes the prayer, now you will find out that he was on the last rakah. Oh, I have 3 more to catch up. When he does the Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you don't do the salam. You don't finish your prayer. You get up, and whatever rakahs you have missed, you complete those. If you miss 3 rakahs, you complete 3. If you miss 2, you complete the 2. Okay? So I think the last topic is a prayer when traveling. A lot of people ask these questions, that what do we do when we are traveling? How to pray when we are traveling? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given some concessions while we are traveling, and we did some of those, like we did on the tayammum bit. If you don't find water, you do it. That's also for traveling and non-traveling. We also said that you can wipe over your socks for a longer period, like 72 hours if you are traveling. There is another thing that you do while you are traveling, which is shortening the prayer. Okay? So where there is 4 units of prayer, like for the Zohar, for the Asr, and for the Isha. For these 3 prayers, instead of praying 4 units, you pray 2 units. The prayer is half during traveling. The Fajr prayer is 2 rakats, so it cannot be 1 rakat. It just stays 2 rakat. The Maghrib is 3, you cannot make it 1.5. It stays 3. So when you make the intention to travel, you begin shortening your prayer, okay? As soon as you leave your city. Suppose you are here and you are taking your plane from LAX. Then as soon as you go to LAX, you are in another city, you are at the airport, you can start shortening your prayer. Similarly, Allah has given us the concession of combining 2 prayers while you are traveling. That's what I was telling you in the beginning. You may not even have to stop at some place and make wudu, go to some place and make tayammum. If you know that your traveling time is so much that you can combine 2 prayers before leaving. You're just leaving your house, right? And it is time, for example, if it's Fajr time, okay? Then you leaving the house, you pray your Fajr and your morning prayer and you leave. You know that you will get to a certain destination where you say you're going to San Francisco or San Diego, where San Francisco is further, so you're going to San Francisco. You know you will be there in about 6 hours, average, okay? So you know that the time will still be, you will still be on time for your Zohar. You can go over there and pray your Zohar, and you can pray, if you are late and you arrive there at the time for Asr, it's okay. You have to have your intention that I'm going to pray, but I'm going to combine my prayers. So when you get there, you pray your Zohar and Asr together, in the sense that since you are traveling, you are going to pray 2 rakas instead of 4. So you pray your 2 rakas of Zohar, you make the salam, and then you get up and you pray your 2 rakas for Asr. Combining Zohar and Asr. You cannot combine your Fajr with anything. Fajr is separate. Combine your Zohar Asr, you can combine that, and if you are traveling, you can combine your Maghrib with Isha. You can either pray it early, like you can pray the Asr with Zohar or Zohar with Asr. Similarly, you can pray the Isha with Maghrib or the Maghrib with Isha. Got it? Like the time for either prayer has to be there. And then you combine these two. But don't leave any long gap. Question? The slide? Yes, we can show the slide, but I have the slides. I didn't send it to Hakim. So we can just show it later once they're done. Yeah. Yeah, inshallah. Yeah, we can email or we can show it later. If Hakim wants to go, let him go. So you must pray these two prayers one after the other, not after a long gap. Look, I'm combining my prayer, but I'll say it after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. No, you can't do that. If you're combining, you have to finish one prayer and start the other prayer. So what again? Now the question is, what is considered to be traveling? When are you considered to be a traveler? There are differences of opinion. Some say 3 or more days. Some say 15 or more days. Some say you are traveler as long as you do not have the intention to become a resident of their place. You go to a country, you go there, and you don't have any intention of become a resident over there, of living there. You are a traveler. Even if you travel for a month or 2, you are still a traveler. So there are differences of opinion. There are some ways of determining this. If you are traveling locally somewhere, if you have traveled, say, at least 50 miles one way. At least nowadays you commute 50 miles. So I'm going to come to that. So if you have traveled at least 50 miles one way, you are going to San Diego or somewhere, then it is considered travel. If you have packed your bags and your supplies for the journey, it means you are on travel, right? If you are letting your neighbors know, please take care of my mail, you are on travel, of course. If you have left your city or your country of residence, cross to another city or country, you are a traveler. Some scholars say there is no specific distance as long as it is called traveling. You are in a state of travel. You left your house, you went away, but you can't say that I'm coming from Orange County to LA, it's traveling. No, that's not traveling, okay? So it is based on custom. It is based on what the community considers traveling. If the majority of the population say consider that traveling to San Diego is traveling, but if the majority of the population say, no, we commute to San Diego, so then it won't become traveling. So let me give you a classic example. I will end with this example. This is the example of New York and New Jersey. What happens is, if you ask the people of New York that they are going to New Jersey for something, will they say it's a travel? You tell me. You said yes? Who else?
For work. It's not travel, right?
No, I'm saying somebody is going to New Jersey. From New York, remember, it's New York to New Jersey. You're living in New York and you're going to New Jersey. Will it be traveling?
Yes.
Most of the people will say it's traveling. That is the community's perception. Why? Because nobody will want to live. I mean, like, who would want to live in New York, pay a higher rent, buy a more expensive house, and everything is more expensive, and then go to New Jersey for working? If you're working in New Jersey, you might as well move to New Jersey, right? Makes sense? If you ask the people of New Jersey, they are going to New York, will they consider it travel or will they say commuting?
No.
They will say it's commuting, not travel. Because people want to live in New Jersey and they commute to New York for working. Why? Because New York is more expensive. So it depends on the community. What is the reason? The reason is, again, I'm saying that distance becomes irrelevant at such times. Why? Because you are living in one place and you're commuting to the other place. There may be certain places over here outside of LA and Orange County and outside in the suburbs of LA. People live in the suburbs and they commute. They might be commuting a distance which is more than 50 miles a day, more than 60 miles a day, more than 80 miles a day. But if it is commuting distance according to the community of the people of that area, it will be counted as commuting distance and not travel. And if it is considered a travel, like my teacher would to say, I studied in Canada, and he would say, from here, if you're going to Niagara Falls, will you consider it traveling or not? Some people, yes, I work in Niagara Falls, I do this, Niagara Falls. And then he would say, would you take something with you? Would you have your own cup of tea with you when you're going there? No. So you're on travel. Because you are in a state of travel, you will not have your own bedroom, your own bathroom, your own cup of tea, and you will be going there. You will be having food outside. You will have to buy stuff. You will have to take sandwiches with you. It is considered traveling. So that is how travel is. So it is a state. Nobody can give you an exact definition of what is travel. So I hope I have covered all the relevant points. If you have any other questions, please ask me. The floor is open for anybody who wants to ask questions. Yes, Amma.
I have a question. I read that if you are fasting and you don't do your prayers, but you're doing your fasting, it is not valid.
Fasting and prayer are two different things. They're both obligatory, right? If you're fasting, right? You fast 1 month in a whole year, right? That is the month of Ramadan, and you have some voluntary fasts as well. If you're not praying, that is yet another thing. It's not that your fasting is not valid. The fasting is valid, but why would you not pray? Your praying is 5 times a day you have to pray. So I think prayer comes first. You pray, both of those are equally obligatory on us. So it doesn't mean that if you pray and you do not fast, then your prayer, it becomes invalid. No, those things are not connected by invalidating the other. Try to make your prayers regular, and that's what Allah says in the Quran again and again, aqimus salah. It means establish the prayer. Allah keeps on saying, establish the prayer. It's not just pray once in a while, once in a lifetime, and then just leave your prayers. Don't be irregular. Try to be regular in your prayers. Yes.
Would you be able to make up like Zohar and Asar prayer if you missed it due to work?
Due to work? The best thing is that if you're at work, if you are allowed to go to the restroom, if you're allowed to take a 5 minutes lunch break or a tea break, whatever, try to say your prayers on time over there. Even if you have to say it somewhere in a corner, somewhere else, somewhere, go to the parking lot, anywhere. Don't try to, try to say your prayer instead of missing it. Don't miss your prayer. That's the thing. But if your work doesn't allow you to leave your desk, you have to be there. You can negotiate with your boss that I have to say my prayer. It takes only 5 minutes. It's only 5 minutes. It's just a fard prayer, just the obligatory prayer. You're allowed to go to the bathroom anyways, right? So you go to the bathroom, you come back, you say, can you give me just 5 minutes? I need to. If they allow you, fine. Sometimes you're scared to ask because of the situation. Ask them. If they allow, it's fine. You just say in the corner, go to another room. There must be a kitchen or there must be a pantry or something in the office. Go and say it there. Worst come worst, you go to the parking lot, say it there. Go outside, say it there. You know?
Right.
So try not to miss your prayer. Yes.
So what about if now we allow? Because if we're not allowed to do the prayers on time.
Yeah, if you are in a situation where you are not allowed to pray at all, some of your bosses are like stubborn.
Yeah, because we're not living in an Islamic country. This
Okay.
is not easy for us.
Okay.
All the time. It's kind of.
Okay, so if you just cannot pray, there is no way of praying, then you can just pray as soon as you can. Like the time for Zohar and the time for us is not like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? Whenever you get the chance. Like I said, if you have a lunch break or a tea break, just say it. Even if it's the end of the Zohar time or the end of the Asr time, just say your prayers. Try to say. If for some reason which Allah knows is a valid reason, then Allah will forgive you. But then you pray as soon as you get the chance. You go home and you pray. Yes. Yes.
About wudu, like what about polish? Nail polish.
Yes, nail polish you have to remove.
You have to.
Yeah, unless you have a kind of a nail polish which is called a breathable nail polish, which has come into the market. But then, if you have several coats of the breathable nail polish, it won't remain breathable. The water has to touch your skin. That's it. It has to go to your nails and your skin. So you can apply it. Suppose you want to go somewhere, you want to apply nail polish. I'm not saying don't apply. Then what you do is you make your wudu, apply your nail polish, keep your wudu intact, go attend your party wherever you are going. When you come home, again time for another prayer, remove it and make your wudu. Or keep the nail polish in your purse. You want to apply it over there, remove it, keep the nail polish remover with you. But the water has to go inside. Okay, inside. Yes.
For men, when you're wearing a cap and then it just falls down, what can you do?
Cap is not even necessary. It's okay. Let it fall down. Cap is not important for praying for men. It's for women who have to cover their whole body, right? Yes.
So after third and In third and fourth rakat after Surah Fatiha, you don't have to recite.
No,
Surah?
no. No surah
I didn't
in the
know that.
third and four rakas after Surah Fatiha. No surah, no ayat required. Only Surah Fatiha, Ameen, and go into ruku. Yes.
And one more. Can you do wudu with sea, like water from the sea?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't cover it because I wanted to shorten it to bring it into the 2 hours which we had committed that I will try to finish it in 2 hours. So the water is pure of, you go to the beach, you can use the ocean water, you go to a sea, you go to a river, you can use the river water, you can use water from a waterfall, you can use water of a big pond which is clean. It's as long as it doesn't smell, the change of the color of the water does not change, it is pure water. And you can also collect rainwater if there's no other water. You can use the water that you have for your drinking purposes. Whatever water is pure and it purifies. It is pure and it purifies. You can even use the snow water. If you're living in, I'm a Canadian, so I lived in Canada for so many years. So if you don't have anything else, what you do is you pick up the snow from the road and you just use that, and it's cold, but if there's no other way, then you make your wudu. And if it's harming you, then you make tayammum. That's it. Yes.
And you don't close your eyes anywhere?
Okay, good question. I deliberately...
I keep finding myself closing my eyes and
Okay, the question is closing the eyes during the prayer. It is not forbidden to close your eyes during the prayer. It is better because the Prophet ﷺ said, look on the place where you are going to prostrate, right? So if you are standing, look down. It will help you in focusing. If closing your eyes is because you can't focus and you want to close your eyes so that you regain your focus, then it's okay. But otherwise,
I close my eyes because that's how I pray. Like that's how I used to pray. So
okay.
It's like natural for me to say something that I memorized, and I'm praying to.
As a non-Muslim, you used to pray while your eyes were closed?
Yes.
So you're used to that, that's why. So try to get in the habit of opening your eyes.
I am, but I keep finding myself.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. That's
eyes.
natural. It comes naturally. Mm-hmm. Some things that you can't do, Allah doesn't put hardship on you. Remember, for all of you are almost converts, right? Except for some spouses. So if you are converts, remember, Allah is not hard on you. Allah doesn't want hardship for you. Allah wants you to learn. You have a time and space, and you have the energy and the capability to learn things and to adapt to certain things. If you are used to a certain way from childhood till now, if you're living in Christianity or living in Judaism or living as a Hindu or whatever, then you have a certain way of doing your ibadat, doing your worship. It takes a while. Try to get away from it. Try to, sometimes open your eyes, force your eyes to yourself, but don't put yourself in hardship. It's not forbidden completely. It's preferred that you look down. Okay? Anything else? Any questions, Layla? You came late, so you must have a lot of questions, but inshallah, I'm going to send this. I'm going to put this into a text, and we have, like I told you, I was supposed to get the books, but the person who is in charge of the books for the Dawah committee, Brother Jamal, he is sick, and he could not give me the books. So I will get the books, inshallah. I will try to give it to you. Like there's English and there's Spanish. Is everybody for Spanish books, or somebody needs the English book as well?
Is this the one that says how to pray?
Yes.
Oh, I have it. Yeah.
You have it from the IIOC, from our masjid?
Yeah.
So how many people need it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll get 10 copies, and maybe I can just Amal, can you help me in giving? Amal, can you help me in distributing the books to the people?
Spanish book, please.
The Spanish?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just get 10 books, try to get 10 books, inshallah. I was supposed to bring it today, but Brother Jamal was not well, so he couldn't give it to me. So, inshallah, we'll do that. Any other question? Is everything clear? Ramadan is coming, inshallah. Tonight we have Taraweeh. Tomorrow is fasting, inshallah. So when you if you get time and you get the space and you get it's close to you, then try to attend the Taraweeh. It's very iman boosting. It's very refreshing, and it puts your soul into a lot of peace and tranquility because you're listening to the Quran. Go to the best recitation you can go to if it's close to you. In our masjid in IIOC, we have one of the best recitations by Sheikh Muhammad Faqih and Sheikh Muhammad Mana. They are excellent, mashallah. So you really enjoy the Taraweeh. Taraweeh is not meant for enjoyment, but when you are comfortable, you are enjoying it, you can focus more and try to memorize some of the surahs during Ramadan. Try to memorize Surah Fatiha at least, and some of the prayer stuff. Try to listen to it if you can't. If you can read it, good at reading, do it. And whatever, try to fast. It's difficult for people who have not been Muslims to try and fast, whatever they can. You can't force yourself, so try fasting one day. If you can do that, try 2 days. If you can't, you can leave a gap and then again. Inshallah, Allah is going to help you. Allah makes things easy for people who try to do things just to please Him, inshallah. And please make dua for everyone, for me, for yourself, for all of us, and for the Muslim community, for the Muslim ummah, for the Muslim nation. A lot of places people are really suffering. They cannot attend classes, they cannot fast, they cannot pray. Especially you see in China, people are being stopped from fasting and from praying, and they are in detention camps and all that, and a lot of other places in Syria and Palestine and Kashmir and many other places where people are going through a lot. So make dua for them, make dua for the whole community, and please feel free to, I will send you emails and I will send you the literature, all the text, and feel free to send me emails whenever you need to, okay? Jazakumullah khair, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.